All right, Sunday night, a little hecticness. We changed the time to 8 o'clock Eastern. So thank you first off to everyone for joining us on episode 26 of Beyond the Court. It's obviously been a hectic few months and a hectic 2020, but it's going to get better. The 2021 has started out way better already. We know that, and I just had a little hectic time getting gathered here tonight. But here I am. It's Beyond the Court with Scotty Mack and Ellie. And tonight we're going to have a little recap of the Atlanta Grand Slam event, Ellie. And we're going to have some really cool guests. We will have Alex Landa, my doubles partner for that event. And then we will follow that with Dean Baer and Favio Soto, the IRT voices. But before I hand it off to you, Ellie, which I always do, it's important. I want to make sure that I did everything I could, and we worked hard to get Big Sam Murray on the show tonight. Sam's a great dude. Love that guy. I have a ton of respect for him. And he just couldn't make it. He's still working out his English. But Ellie, I know you and I can attest to this. I was the first one that said, "Welcome to the club." Sam Murray, you played a flawless approach in how you got things done. You had an incredible draw, tough draw. You got it done. You stuck through it to the end. You beat who Ellie and I both agree is possibly the second most talented player on the planet right now. And congratulations to you again, Sam Murray. We wish we could have had you here tonight. I know you want to work on your English, you said, but Ellie and I speak a little bit of French, and we would have made it easy for you. But Sam, congrats. And Ellie, what do you got?
Yeah, great win for Sam. He's took home a tier one title, and it's not an easy club to become a part of. You can go down the list on Todd Boss's site and see a whole bunch of players that have no titles next to their name, some seconds, maybe some semis. But Sam broke through, and it's an interesting situation. Kane's not there, a new player wins. I think we'll bring that up with Dean and Favio and talk a little bit on that subject. But it's always exciting to have a new winner in the circle there. And Suds, you and Alex pulled off the nice doubles win. Again, tough draw, and I'll probably ask Alex about that a little bit. You guys always seem to have the toughest draws every time you partner up and enter a tournament. And I'll save a little story for the moment when we have Alex in here. But it was quite fun to watch your final there. I watched it with my daughter Jordan, and exciting match. And good call by Dean and Favio. You had me into the match the whole time.
Well, that's always good that's good to know. And we're going to start off with the monologue, and then after I finish my monologue, we'll be right back, and we'll bring Alex Landa, my partner, as you hear me say often, mi hermano. We'll talk about that too later. But I just wanted to say that this is a time to be thankful and show our gratitude. You know, Ellie and everybody out there, obviously, we're thirsting for racquetball, and we're doing everything we can to play it. Ellie and I and Scotty Mack, we're doing everything we can to bring it to you and to make sure that it is front and center in your life, and that the good things and the reasons we love this game and the reasons we continue to support it and play it, are front and center. And that's what we want to do here at Beyond the Court. But I just want to say thank you to a few people that made the Atlanta IRT event happen. For me, it's always super special because I just don't know when I'm going to do it again, if I'm going to do it again, how I want to do it again. So for me, it's always just event by event, game by game, match by match. So first off, IRT, you're working super hard to do what you're supposed to do. I'm not one for giving credit when people or organizations do what they're supposed to do, right? But IRT, you guys are really doing a tremendous job. You're bringing events when you can, and having that event was super important for our sport. And that goes for, and I'm going to say the names right now, Mike Grizz, Mark Gibbs, Andy Kolbach, Karen Grizz, Pablo Farhe, and of course, Dean and Fabio, who will be there tonight. You're doing what you're supposed to, which is bring professional events to our sport. So thank you for that. Also want to thank the sponsors in Atlanta, Donald Williams, Savant Consulting, Francisco Fajardo, and I'm sure there's many more, but without you and without that money that you put in, which it is what it is in our sport, Ellie, it, we need those sponsors. We need the money to be there for those events to happen. Then there's the tournament directors, and these guys never get enough credit, these guys and girls across the world. And Ellie's a huge tournament director. He's been doing it for many years. Veronica and I have run one or two down here in South America, and it's not easy. It's a difficult task. It's much easier to play a match than it is to run an event. And, Robert Lyons and Chad Bailey and their staff of directors that kept kept the matches going, keep it going, keeping the tournament going. We were pretty much on time. Really, the only court, Ellie, that I think was out of schedule was the pro court. But Chad Bailey, Robert Lyons, and your staff, you don't get enough credit. And any of you who run tournaments out there that sit behind that desk, give out those scorecards, look for refs. Thank you so much for everything you do as well. And then, of course, Ellie, Jason Chan, the owner of the club. Jason Chan's one of the hardest working individuals that I've ever met in all of my career. He's doing everything from stringing rackets, checking temperatures, making sure we have masks on. He's doing everything as an owner of a club, but also, just a labor of love. It really is cool. The Atlanta Rec Center there, his club, he's got pictures all over the place, and it really brought back a lot of memories and just of all great players and legends from throughout the year. So Jason Chan, without you, that event doesn't happen. And again, I just want to say thank you. And last but not least, and Ellie, I know you can attest to this, it's all about you players, the fans, everybody that attended, everybody that watched, because you are the ones that drive and inspire and motivate all those people I just named and mentioned to continue to do what we do, and that's be at these events. And for me personally, and me specifically, I don't need titles, I don't need accolades. My inspiration, my motivation comes directly from you, the players, the fans, and everyone alike. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. And please don't ever stop, because as long as you keep going, I promise you, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to make sure Ellie keeps going with me, Scotty Mack, and all the work Veronica puts in. But again, thank you to all of you. There's a lot of doom and gloom, but I just want to say thank you for that. And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with my doubles partner, y mi hermano, Alex Landa. All right, we're back, and we are back with, and I'm going to say this proudly because I did see a comment on social media that if I say mi hermano, apparently some people don't like that, but that's what I'm going to call Alex Landa forever. He will be mi hermano as well as my doubles partner. Alex, thanks for joining us. I know you're going to be going out in a few minutes. You're going to go have a good dinner. Wish I could be with you, but thanks for coming again, brother.
Anytime, anytime. Thanks
Yeah,
for inviting me.
I'll get started on this, Alex, for you and Sudsy on this one, but let's start with you, Alex, just what it means overall to capture that title on that night, on Saturday night. I know you had a tough Saturday right before then, with the semis and singles, but you regrouped and got the victory in the finals. So just the overall feelings for both of you.
It was a special moment. When we signed up to play doubles, we always look to go and get the title. So every time I step on the court with Sudsy, it's our goal. It's we know we're gonna go battle. So it was really special after 10 months or almost a year.
Yeah.
Play a tournament and win it. It was something special.
Sudsy?
Yeah, I mean, like Alex said, I couldn't wait to get back out there with him, and competing with him is something that honestly, it just makes me want to go out there more and more as much as possible. And there's no doubt we make each other better. And playing with him is easy. He's phenomenal. I always tell him whenever we're in there, you're the best player on the court. Just be you. And it was super exciting, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone can't wait to see it again for sure. And we'll get to that in a little bit here. But, Alex, a lot of matches on Saturday for you, and matches Friday leading in that are tough. And, every match is difficult at the pro level. You're playing mixed as well. So you had 3 divisions going. For those that didn't take a look at the mixed draw, Alex was in that draw. And so, a lot of matches Saturday. Talk about the difficulties of trying to prepare for that final match on a Saturday night, that doubles final, mentally and physically.
I was exhausted. My body was tired. Mentally stuff, but I think I have strong my mental it's really strong. I work on that a lot. Uh, and of course, Sudsy motivates me a lot. The words he uses to never let me go down, or to keep pushing me to play better, to not lose, to not get mad, or to not lose lose our focus, our goal. So
Hmm.
that's what keeps me fighting, keeps me playing, even though if I'm tired or I don't want to be there or whatever. I'm there with him, and I know he has my back, and I have his.
Yeah, absolutely. And a critical part of the match, we all saw, and it scared, it scared people watching. You took a racket to the face. You were right there in center court. You hit the shot, came back to the middle, or the ball came to the middle. And to me, I told my daughter, we were watching, I said, "Oh, he's too tired to move his feet," right after you got hit with the racket. Now, just in your own words, what happened there that you took the racket to the side of the head there?
I really don't remember. I just remember like I got hit. I don't remember the play and all that. But I think he on the first time I think he hit me on my mouth. So I got like fuck, I'm bleeding or whatever. But it was here, so all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, that's what I told my daughters. Like, he's really tired right now. I can see he didn't even want to move his feet to get out of the way, which he normally would there at least a little bit to not catch the racket. But
Right.
and that's for me as a former pro. I'm like, man, that's tough because you're making that mental decision quickly to hold your ground, stay in position center court, and even if that means taking a racket. So I think
Right.
that's tough. Sudsy, your thoughts when you saw that?
so so first off, the four of us, we play super tight. One of the things that Alex and I both do is, no matter who it is, obviously we play two giants in the semifinals, in Jake and Sam, but we play physical. We're not afraid to get in there tight, and again, not taking shots away, just that's part of the game at this level. And so Alex was exhausted. I mean, that's a whole nother story talking about going into the match, but in that specific play, it was pretty funny. A lot went on. Alex was definitely in position, and when he got hit with the racket, he got hit right about here, right under the cheek. And in true Alex form, he kind of assessed himself. I looked at him like I told everybody, just get away, take a hike. I'll figure this out, and I'll look at this with Alex. And he looked okay. He had some blood coming down, and I know that the rules are, as Scotty Mack is in the back door right now, is that you got to stop play, right? If there's blood. Alex didn't want any part of that. So he's
Mhm.
got blood coming down, which now I see in his eyes. I just look at him and I literally just said, "Hey, are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like don't even ask that question as it's blowing up and it's bleeding and everything. And I know he's fine because I can see it in his eyes. And but I wasn't worried about that. I knew he was fine, but I also felt that that was a good moment for us because I also know it woke him up.
Mhm.
And as much as it didn't bother him, he also didn't like it. And sometimes, Ellie, as well as I do,
Mhm.
that helps in those moments. And all of a sudden, he got that energy that
Mhm.
maybe he didn't have, prior to, and he was fine the whole time. But now all of a sudden, it's like you woke up a sleeping giant. And so the funny thing was, and this is for the fans, when there's blood or there's any blood, you're supposed to stop play, come out, stop the bleeding. So Scotty Mack like kind of knocks on the glass and he goes, Alex, you got to get off the court. And Alex
Nah.
told him in Alex nice way, like, no, I'm not coming off the court. And I just looked at Scotty and I said, hey, I said, he's okay, he's good. But I was lying because it was like blood coming down and Scotty couldn't see it from his angle. So the next serve, Alex, you remember what you did with it? You just buried the ball. Just it was a reverse side out. And I was like, oh, this is beautiful. So now if you watch the video, now we're walking up to the front wall to go get the ball because now we're going to serve. And and he's bleeding down the side of his face. I'm like, hermano, I'm like, hey, you're bleeding. They're going to take us off the court. I don't want to get off the court. We feel good. You're pissed. This is great. He's even ignoring me. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. So you can see me.
I didn't feel anything. That's why.
So you can see me with my glove. It looks like I punch him in the face, but I'm actually just cleaning his face. So I look at him and I could tell, all right, this isn't going anywhere. So I just take my glove and I wipe the blood off his face, and then we were good. And then it was a good moment though. It was fun.
Yeah,
Staying.
definitely an energy change there, and noticeable, and into the tiebreaker with that energy change for a great match. Alex, it seemed, I know they do the draws by the rankings. And so, we're gonna have Favio on, we're gonna have Dean on later, and we could ask this, or we might pass on it, but it seems like you guys always get the toughest draw possible in the 3 or 4 tournaments that I've seen you compete in with each other. What's the deal with that, Alex? Why does this keep happening that you have to go through as many teams as you do? Happened in Vegas as well, right into the first or second seeds, can't recall, but tough matches early on throughout the whole event. Why? And do you prefer that, or would you like a layup to get started maybe?
No, I like to play the best guys first. I mean, I don't mind the order. I'm always ready. I like tiebreakers. So either way, I'm okay with it. I'm always
What do
prefer
you mean you
mental.
like tiebreakers? Explain that a little more. What do you really mean there?
Uh, I mean, it's fun if you go to tiebreaker to play a tiebreaker for the fans. It's exciting for you. I mean, I think I turn on myself more. I'm prepared for those moments. I think not everyone is.
Right.
So I think I am. So that's why I like tiebreaks. If I have to play, of course.
So do you think that doubles draws at the IRT level right now should have some kind of different seeding process there, maybe based on past results with players? In your situation, even though you're 46 years old, one of the greats of all time, still clearly playing racquetball at a high level, maybe they could see that a little differently.
Well, first off, Ellie, before I get there, I just want to say I don't know if Robert Lyons and Chad Bailey were online earlier when we thanked them, but they are now. So once again, Robert and Chad, thank you so much for everything you two do. Ellie, I'm a big proponent of, and I've discussed this with the IRT, of having a committee that is there to make decisions in the best interest of tournaments. And a lot of times it does come down to seedings and matches and stuff. Now, I'm not saying that anybody should get a pass or a cakewalk, but I'm saying that, where we're at in our sport, I think we need to do everything we possibly can to make it more engaging, to make it better, to make it more exciting moving forward from start to finish. So, would I have in this event seeded us differently? Possibly, right? But I'm okay. Like Alex said, we don't mind. I think that, yeah, when we played national doubles last year, there's no doubt we had the toughest draw. and that was interesting because there was a lot of talk of, oh, well, you guys might be the best team. Well, since you're the best team, let's give you the toughest draw also. But it also hurt the other players too, Ellie. Now they have to play Alex and I.
Sure.
And then when we went to Vegas, yeah, we had to play Daniel and Alvaro, second round, but I was okay with that too. That's outdoor was a little different. One of the reasons why we couldn't wait to get back indoors. And then here, yeah, we were seated fourth. I don't really care about the seedings, honestly, at this point. That, like Alex said, we don't care who we play when we play them. For me, I just see it as what's best for the actual tournament and event. And if that's what's best, then so be it. Alex and I are going to go out there and do what we need to do.
Well said too. The quarterfinal match, I believe Friday night, I turned it on. I look at the scoreboard. Thursday night. Well, then, okay. You were down.
Which match?
I'm not
No,
sure.
semifinal Friday night.
Semifinal was Friday.
Semifinal Friday night. I don't think it was that match then. Maybe it was Thursday or earlier on Friday during the day. It was a match you were down 1-0, down 12-4, 12-5, somewhere in that ballpark in game 2. Playing a tough team. Can't recall which one. Probably should have that note right in front of me. But
Bredenbeck and Murray. That was Bredenbeck and Murray. We were down 12-5.
No, it was the one before that even. No, it was Bredenbeck and Murray. No, it was Bredenbeck and Murray. Right.
They beat us.
They're good. And by the way, I would have said, going into the tournament, I would have wanted to see you guys won, but with everything there, with Bredenbeck and Murray, I said, well, okay, they could be 1, maybe Suds and Alex 2, but I thought it should be the other way around.
I don't think we should have been seeded 1. No.
Well, okay. Fair enough. You guys won the tournament, so I disagree in some senses. But you had to go through the team that I would have said was 1 or 2 seed, in my opinion, on all those teams. There's a lot of great teams, close matches. That's why there's so many tiebreakers.
Great players.
The score's 12-4, 12-5. Guys, I gotta admit, I turned my phone off. I just said, bummer. They're gonna go down. And I gave up on you. And then I looked the next morning. I didn't see it till the next morning, and there it is with the W. So that one, that woke me up right there. I said, oh, they're going to win this tournament then if they can make that type of comeback. So explain what happened in that match in game 2 and game 3, and maybe start with Alex. Since I didn't watch it, what really got that going again and got you guys back into that match and turned around and win? And you won a fairly easy tiebreaker score, I believe, as well.
First of all, I think Murray and Jake, they were playing really good. They put a lot of pressure on us. They would dominate the center of the court, keep us back on the court, and make us do the mistake. And when we got the side out, and I think 12-5, or I don't know, I changed the serve. I think that was the key. I mean, I'm not saying we won because of my serve, middle serve, but I think that changed uh, uh, the the match, and they were starting shooting from up here,
Right.
and we keep them back on the court, and we start dominating. We changed the match. What they were doing to us, we start doing to them. So I think that was the key. And then they got the pressure, and then they start doing mistakes, skipping the ball, and all that. And Sudsy got on fire on the tie breaks.
Right.
Sudsy got on fire, and he rolled every ball, and that was it.
Yeah, and I heard a little bit of what you just explained is kind of how it was explained to me what happened, and they mentioned it. Dean and Favio did a good job of mentioning it as you went back to that serve in the next round using that middle lob serve. So as you talk about a little bit what something Alex just said there is kind of you mirrored what they were doing and did it back to them. You know, talk about the philosophy of trying something like that in doubles where you really kind of try to change momentum by copying your opponent sometimes and seeing if they can answer what they're trying to do to you.
Yeah, sometimes, in coaching, and I hate to give all of it away, but sometimes somebody's biggest strength can be their biggest weakness. And, Alex at 12-5, we got that side out. Jake and Sam were flat out kicking our asses. There's no doubt about it. We were hitting balls. There was even a point I walked up to Alex and Alex, I don't know if you remember this. And I said to you, we kind of just had that look in our eyes, like, what's going on here? And I'm like, thinking to myself, they're just kicking our asses. Like this has happened before. And I said to you, Alex, I said, I actually feel pretty good. Like I don't feel, do you remember that?
Yeah, I
I
do.
said, I feel like I'm like not missing by too much. I feel like my contact is pretty good. These guys are just rolling it. They're just hot. And then, they get up 12-5 in the second and they won the first, and nobody wants to be there. And Alex is serving. He's the first server on our team. And he hits this lob down the middle. And all of a sudden, you know everything changed, the energy changed, the tempo changed, and really it was Alex's doing. And I even remember when I got the serve in that same sequence, I said, hey, you want me to stick with that? I asked Alex. He's like, just stick with it. And it's funny because after the match, like reading some text, Veronica's like, hey babe, every time you play so and so, you always lob. And why didn't you guys do that from the beginning? And I really didn't have an answer. But the philosophy there was, Ellie, we wanted to feed into what I know they wanted to do, which was attack, 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 attack. Alex and I were going to stay the course. We never really looked at the score as 12-5. We always talk about just getting 1 point. We just want one, and something good will happen. And we put together a quick run, and we went from like Alex serving 5-12 to like 10-12 and in less than probably 15 shots, total. So
Crazy.
it was really effective. And we sometimes try to identify how to play into somebody's strength, which you can then make their weakness if you know how to execute it.
Yeah, you see it happen over the years in all the sports, but certainly in racquetball. And well done on that. Did at any time feel like you were going to lose that match? I mean, did you have that in your mind? Like, well, we're probably going to lose here.
Me personally, when I'm with Alex on the court, I swear to you, and this is no lie. I mean, I just feel like, no, there's never a chance. Like we always, unless that match is called and it's over, I still, I think that we have a good chance to win the match. I got to be honest, I wasn't comfortable at 12-5 in the
Right.
second. I wasn't like, this is exactly where I want to be. But I can tell you that once it got to the breaker, that's exactly where we want to be.
Right. There's some questionable calls, certainly in every match. And we got our boy Scotty here on the background who's making some of those calls. But you didn't make it any easier on him, Sudsy, with some holdups, with some penalty hinder holdups. And so, sometimes that's part of the game. You just safety of other individuals on the court with you. Sometimes swinging through and hitting the shot and earning that penalty hinders there. Talk about that topic a little bit, because I was, I wanted to text you a couple times. I go, what are you holding up for? Just
You
go ahead
did
and
text
rock.
me that. You don't.
I did,
You don't
right?
remember. You did text me. So
Just
I,
let me finish first. Just rock somebody, please. Like just hit the ball right in the kidney and then maybe they won't be in your way when you have a setup next time. But that's kind of old school style. We grew up watching all the old school ballers, and they were smaller rackets into the bigger rackets and weren't really afraid to hit people. My dad would come home with 15 ball marks on his body every now and then. And so, that mentality is maybe not on point with nowadays game. So what say you on that, when it comes to that topic for you now at this stage?
Yeah, I think first off, I think Scotty Mack truly did an awesome job. I mean, his job sucks, right? Like what he's got to do is just brutal. He has to. He's wrong 50% of the time. As far as me swinging and holding up, if you ask Sebastian or you ask Murray or if you ask Momo or Conrado, I don't hold up much. These guys. Sebastian was telling me how beat up he was after the match, just with rackets and stuff. But if I feel I could actually hurt somebody, with the racket, I'm going to hold up. And the thing with me is if I do hold up, I'm going to make it pretty obvious because I have a big, long, wide swing on both sides. So if I do hold up, I'm holding up to help you. I don't want to hurt you because I will take the shot. My window, the smaller the window is, the more comfortable I am. But if I feel I'm going to hit you with the racket or hurt you with the racket, Alex, I don't know. I think I've hit you with the racket a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want that penalty hinder? Do you want that
No,
that call
no.
there?
No, I'm not looking for an avoidable.
And
I think that's
that's the question a lot of people might have watching. Is
no,
like,
that's
you throw your hand up, but that's more of they're in my way. I want to
that
hinder for sure.
that's a reactionary thing. I'm not,
Right.
maybe I'm letting Scotty know, but there's no way I'm looking. I am never, ever, ever looking for an avoidable call. I want to take the shot. If there's an opportunity that it might be an avoidable, then usually that might mean my opponent's out of position. So no, I never want the avoidable. No, I want to hit the shot.
Alex, one of the things why you're so perfect for Sudsy's partner at this stage also is because I've said this a bunch about you. Your game is would cross over to any era really. You're fun for my era to watch. You got a lot of power. You shoot, you rip, you make great gets. You're fast. You're in shape. You're not really looking for calls. You know what I mean? And so. Testament to you, but the mentality out there, because a lot of players are holding up with the point of trying to squeeze that penalty hinder. How do you feel about that topic, Alex, as it pertains to your game and your doubles game at that too?
No, actually, I hate it. Like Sudsy say, we're not looking for an affordable. We want the shot, and I hate when players they stop every ball because they want their point. I mean, I don't like that. I mean, I think Scott, he's a great ref. He makes a good calls. He got better with the pass of the years. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I like to play and because sometimes it's funny because it's a great rally,
Mm-hmm.
dives and all that, and then the rally ends because the players stop the point.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they want the call to go his way. So I really hate that.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
And it's almost, I'll ask you, I guess I'll ask you a question. Would you rather, if you're the one who's in the way after making a diving get, but you get up, but you're slightly in the way of the straight line, maybe not, maybe you're out of the way. Would you rather have them hit you with the ball, or do you want them to hold up in that situation? Because a lot of people don't realize, what the answer is to that.
I mean, if it's too obvious, yeah, I mean, take the shot. I mean, if you're on the way, it's your fault.
Right.
Take it.
Right. And that's a tough topic here in the game, because nobody wants to see people get hit a ton. That those days are gone from racquetball, but it's a close call, and it could really make a difference in a big match and a tight match as well, especially after great rallies like you're talking about. Alex, how much? Go ahead, Suds.
But Ellie, to that point too, you see a lot of players and even fans, they can complain, right? And say, oh, the ref made a bad call. But let's be honest, if it's 10-10 in a break or something, we put ourselves there. So if Scotty Mack, in this case, makes a call for or against me or Alex or you, it's not his fault, the outcome of the match, because we got to 10-10 or we got to 14-14. So if one call or two calls or four calls even, right? Like you can go out and do something about it. And to your point, I absolutely don't mind if a player takes a shot. Sam Murray blasted me. I still have a little mark right there. You can see, off a crack serve I hit. And on the court, I said, he's a great dude. He's like, hey, sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. I'm like, you took the right shot. He swung through, he took a full cross court. I'm like, that was the right shot to take. I have respect for that. I don't have respect for the guys that, putting up their hands and they're looking for avoidables. Like, hey, why don't you go work on your skill and like learn to execute a shot? Do that, and then you'll get better. And oh, by the way, you won't be holding up all the time, because it happens all the time. And then you hear coaches, a lot of international coaches, that actually, like Alex, I don't know if you've heard, like, train their players to look for hinders and avoidables. What is that?
Yeah.
I can't even relate to. I don't even. I mean,
drives me crazy as somebody watching from behind the computer or the TV screen. It kills the buzz on a great rally most often, and I would just rather see somebody maybe take a shot every now and then and just see what happens and earn that penalty hinder, because you'll earn it if you hit the ball and you hit it clean. And it's a rubber ball. It's going to hurt a little bit, but we'll move on from there. Guys, how much for the sake of singles too. Let's say events start to want doubles more. Now, how do you guys feel about that? Alex, you first, because you're the touring pro right now. If it means less singles but more doubles and the money's there, everything's about money. How do you feel about that? Because it is exciting to watch the doubles.
I'm okay with both. I like both. We all know it's less money on doubles, and sometimes it's more. The matches are more difficult. The draw is tougher. But it's more exciting sometimes. I mean, I still prefer singles. It's my goal to win singles titles. But if it's a doubles like Atlanta and more events with doubles, I play doubles. I love the sport, and sometimes I don't care about the money. I just go. For me, at the end, if I get the medal, and if I have a check, and if I have a medal, I take the medal.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's real too. You're one of the only guys that's going to be able to say that, and I'm going to totally believe. Another reason why you two are a good partnership, because that sounded like Sudsy early in his career as well, and probably throughout the same mentality. You got to play for the love and the desire before the money, and the money will come if you do, when you do well because of that. So Sudsy, your feelings on that though, because you're mostly looking from the outside on the tour, but here you are at 46 again, saying your age again, another pro stop tier 1 title, doubles.
As long as Alex will accept me, I'll play with him in every single event there is. There's no doubt about that. As far as getting to the events, unfortunately the economics aren't where they used to be. The money's not where it used to be. So I've been fortunate and blessed enough to have some really good support and fans and sponsors and people that want to see me at those events. So, with them in my corner, I'll do it anytime. I know Alex will. There's never been a hesitation. We've played 3 events together, if we count Vegas. And are we counting Vegas, brother?
Yeah, I think so.
So and there's never a hesitation. He said, "Yep, let's do it."
So, Suds, do you think the tour should be adding more doubles, even if it means losing out on a singles event at an event, because they can only finance doubles?
I think optically, from a fan's point of view, I mean, Doug Gannon was vocal about this. He said he wanted to dump, the majority of the prize money into doubles just because of the action and the competitiveness. But, I think singles is absolutely, it's necessary. For me, Ellie, I'm torn, right? Because we had such a deep, long singles career. But I think that the optically doubles, the way it looks, the way it plays out, and then if just the fans' perception, and they love doubles. For me, it would be, I think I'd be selfish to say, oh, only doubles. That's not right, because there was a time where I was only a singles player, and so I'm just going to do whatever Alex wants to do. And if he wants to keep playing, I'm going to, and I could be there, I'll be there. And if the fans like it and they're motivated and inspired by it, then my ass will be right there on the left side of Alex.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of diehard fans that really enjoy the doubles matches. And so, I think that topic will become something that comes up as the tour resumes full time here in the near future, hopefully. Alex, you're a private guy, I'm sure you want it that way, but if I can I ask what you do outside of racquetball? I mean, we've been down for about 11 months, no racquetball. You got your first tournament back here, but how do you supplement your way of making a living here with racquetball when you're back at home?
We have a business family business. We have a company. We distribute packaging supplies
Okay.
for the maquiladoras in Juarez, in Mexico, Chihuahua, all around the state of Chihuahua, here in the border, El Paso. And I do sales. I
Okay.
have a, I have my list of customers. Uh, I make phone calls. I knock doors. I mean, right now it's hard to get a meeting with somebody.
Right.
But I do phone calls. I follow ups with emails and all that.
How much training are you putting in? I mean, it sounds like you're having full work days, probably 5 days a week, maybe more. But how much outside of work, how much training are you doing? Or, are you having long days, or do you have more time on your hands because of COVID?
No, I have more time to do work and training. I mean, I don't train as much as I I love to before. I mean, I have to say it. I mean, I don't get motivated because of all this situation. I
Mhm.
have stuff here at home at my garage. I do CrossFit. I have stuff to do my workouts, but sometimes I get lazy, uh, and but I try to. I mean, I'm active. I still work out here at home. I go run outside, and when I go play, I do drills. I mean, not as much as I used to, but I mean, actually I was surprised. I didn't die after Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean that's a
that's what
real. Go ahead. Go ahead, Suds.
that's what I'm laughing at, Ellie, because when we were speaking, it was a tough time too. I mean, you got Christmas, you have New Year's. I'm traveling to New York. I mean, let's be honest. I went to New York from December 19th to the 28th. I bought my rackets. I had every intention of being ready for Atlanta and getting out there and training. I was going to go play with Amy and Joe Kelly and all those guys. And I didn't pick up a racket once. I think I got 3 workouts in. But I think at the end of the day, Ellie, Alex is such a professional. And you talked about this before the show, before Atlanta. You said that the players that know how to prepare and be ready will be the ones that do well. And I think, like myself very much, and Alex, you give us a date of an event and we'll be ready. We will peak our training so that when we get to that event, we'll be ready. And there, I am never concerned with Alex being ready, but I'm laughing because about a week before, I said to him, we're talking. I go, hey bud, I go, how you feeling? I go, you've been training, you've been practicing, but really what I meant was just because do you have courts and everything okay? And he kind of hesitated. He goes, not as much as I'd like to. and I go, that's all right. I'm in the same exact boat. We're perfect. We're good.
Last question for you, Alex. And this is I'm trying to phrase this right. You have Kane, who didn't play this event, but is 39 years old, I believe, is where he's at. Rocky's in his 40s. Alvaro 40s, I believe, and had a tough health situation that he's going to have to make a comeback from. Takes a couple months. COVID's going to get past us at some point, and we're going to have the tour back, and we're certainly going to talk about that with our next guest. But you're number 2 right now, Alex, and you can probably taste that number 1 ranking right there. What does that mean to you? Where are you with that mentally? Because that type of pressure can get on players as well when they're so close to the ultimate goal of being number 1 in the world. And so talk about that a little bit.
Uh, I really try not to think about pursue the number 1. I mean, of course, I like to. I think everyone does, but like you say, I'm number 2 right now, and of course my goal is to be number 1. But every tournament, every time I go to a tournament, I don't think about that. I just go and play, and if I win, and if the next day I'm number 1, I'll be, of course, more than happy. But I try not to put pressure on myself, thinking or overthinking to get the number 1.
Is it a goal for you? Is it a goal that you desire to accomplish? Even I understand what you're saying. You're not letting that rule your mindset as you prepare and play the matches and get ready for the next match. But is this a goal for your life, or is it about winning pro stops and whatever ranking happens because of that? That's great. But is this a goal? Is this a lifetime goal? So near accomplishment?
Yeah, of course it's a goal. That's why I keep playing racquetball, and that's why I give myself a chance to go and play professional racquetball. And I think it'll be more special to be number 1 right now when Kane is active. He's
Yeah.
one of the greatest or the greatest of all time. So I think it'll be more special if I get the number one with him active.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's out there. That's out there on the table for sure. We only can hope that you have the events to try to pursue that, and for Kane to get back in shape and ready to take on the likes of you as number 2 and everyone else who's ranked 3 and below. Sudsy, you were going to mention something about that because as a former number 1 player, you have perspective.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's going to make Alex, continue to have such great success, before we get out of here is exactly what he just said. And Alex, keep that mindset. Ellie, he's not focused on number 1. He's not focused on the end of the match. And Alex and I battle our asses off. We enjoy the tiebreakers. It doesn't matter if we're down 12-5 or up 14-5. What he does right there is why he's such a great champion. He plays in the moment. He plays that point. He's not thinking about the next one. He's not thinking about the last one. He just wants to go compete and win that point, and everything else is going to take care of itself. And I know right now the only thing he's thinking about is going to have dinner with Fernando with Red Roof. So, we're going to let you go here, brother. I thank you so much for being here. Elliot, do you want to close anything out with Alex?
No, great win again, Alex, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event that takes place. Hopefully, it happens possibly in March, from what I'm hearing in Illinois. Maybe is this the location? So, best of luck in your preparation for that, and keep it rocking.
Thanks, Ali. Appreciate it.
Hermano, gracias. Have a great dinner. Say hello to Fernando. We're going to take a
Thank you.
1-minute break. We'll be right back with Dean Baer and Favio Soto. Don't move. All right, we are hot. We're back on Beyond the Court with Dean Baer and Favio Soto, not only the voices of the IRT, but 2 very instrumental people that, play a big role. And I said a thank you at the beginning of the show, Dean and Favio, and I'm going to be the first to say thank you, Dean. Thank you, Favio, for all you guys do and what you've done for the tour and what we just experienced this past week in Atlanta. So, Dean, thank you for being here. I'll start with you. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having us. I mean, when you said, "Hey, we're gonna have you and Fabio on the show," I'm like, "Wow, Fabio, we made it. We're on the Sudsy and Ellie show. How cool!"
Yeah.
No, but thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
And Favio, of course, thank you for being here too. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much, guys. I really felt comfortable. Sudsy, you were on the booth with us, and that felt great this past weekend. And just it's refreshing to have someone with a lot more knowledge and a lot more experience on the court, different than what Dean and I have. And thanks a lot for joining us in the booth.
Well, hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, really. And, let's get right into it. You guys work your asses off. It's funny. A lot of the things when we got there, when I got there, and Ellie and I didn't talk about this, guy. So if a lot of this is really off the cuff, this is what we do here on Beyond the Court. It's not scripted. So Ellie, I got there on a Wednesday. And, Dean's in there with Pablo, the club, they're getting ready, putting all the stuff. I'm just getting there because I want to loosen up my back and see if I could even play the event. And these guys are going nonstop. And then that just continues every day from like Wednesday to Sunday. So, Dean, what is that like, man? Because then I even see you, at the restaurant, we're eating at the same time because there's no other place open. You get going from the morning, you go all day. What's that like, really just doing that?
Well, I mean, Pablo gets there and we got to get set up. That's like the number one goal. Favio is usually running. He doesn't usually get there the day before, but me and Pablo get there early because Pablo he can do it himself, but it's too much work. And I mean, part of the ownership of the tour, I want to be there. I want to check the facility. I want to make sure the balls are there. I want to make sure the court stickers are where they're supposed to be. And then we just get going. And I mean, we hit the ground running on Wednesday. By Wednesday night, we were almost set up. Thursday, boom, 7 matches. Friday, 7 matches. Saturday, 7 matches. Saturday was bad. That was literally, I mean, it was great for racquetball. We looked at the schedule after and we're like, normally when we have that kind of day, we'll run our quarterfinals 2 by 2, you know, like 2 separate courts and only stream 1. And I don't know if we messed up or if we purposely did it so that we can have more matches to stream. I'm going to go with the latter, but it was phenomenal. But it was literally like close to 13 hours of like,
Just streaming.
that's it. Just
So-
go.
Yeah,
So Favio, let me
Yeah.
ask you, Scotty Mack, our producer and your referee, just messaged me. There were 6 tiebreakers on Saturday, and Dean, you and Favio always say on the air, "Oh, we love a tiebreaker. We want a tiebreaker." So Favio, let me ask you, on a long ass day after 7 matches, do you really want a tiebreaker?
Yes, I do, because we want what's best for racquetball. We want what's best for the fans. We just want people to enjoy it. And that's what happened in Atlanta. We saw just a ton of people logging in, you know, and I got to say, more people than a regular tier 1. And this was a Grand Slam. This was at some points in the event, there were more people watching than even the US Open. So people are thirsty for racquetball. Just remember, we have 10 months without any racquetball tournaments. So yeah, even though it's a long day, we love it a tiebreaker, because even though it's long, you know, it's tiebreakers, there were good matches. Sudsy, you were involved in, you know, that Saturday tiebreaker, the you know, the final, then the semifinals the day prior. It was you know, one of the best doubles matches I've ever seen, really. So yeah, we're happy. We'll do what's best for racquetball, and if we have to do it all over again, Dean will agree with me. We'll do it all over again. We just love to do it.
Yeah, you guys, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into this, as Suds was talking about, and as a tournament director and watching the IRT of the past come and set up at our club here, and everything that goes into not only the Wi-Fi, but the upstream on the Wi-Fi. You got to make sure that the Wi-Fi is proper, going the right direction, because you got to send the video up and out into the world, whatever that means. But, you know, there's a lot that goes on. So before I ask that question, you know, also involved in that now, you have Pablo Faje, who is part of the team. And that's a transition from his days as WRT now with the IRT. Now talk a little bit, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are interested. Like, how is that joining of the forces been for you two guys working with Pablo, like in his position now with the IRT?
Well, I'll take that, Favio. Well, it was literally, I think 1 year ago or 2 years ago, March, because it was the Shamrock Shootout in Chicago, was Pablo's first event. And it was just going to be me and Pablo, and I've never even met him. I heard a lot of things about him, didn't like him,
Right.
never met him.
Wow.
That's Sudsy, you know, that's normal. He was the competition, so to speak. So
Yeah,
didn't
competition.
but Andre would say some phenomenal things about him. And Andre's he's a stand-up guy. He doesn't really blow smoke back in the day, may now. And so I didn't want to be there by myself. And I did a couple matches with Favio in the US Open when we had a Spanish booth and an American booth. So I called him up and said, "Hey, can I get you to Chicago?" You know, we worked out the financial part. IRT was, you know, we didn't have enough to bring someone else, but I needed it. And the team agreed. So we brought Favio. And Favio, you saw that day. I mean, Pablo felt like he was walking on eggshells. And I'm like, Pablo, no. You're the man. Like, you tell me what to do. It doesn't work the other way around. But he is a tremendous asset to our team. And believe me, John and Sudsy, you're there. You saw it. It's a team. There is no I. It's literally teamwork. And that's what's great about Pablo. And he will work 20 hours if he had to. I can't do that. Favio can't do that. We get
Yeah,
like
it's-
drained.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
So
I was the first
it-
one to get there and the last one to leave.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. But it was nice. It was nice because we did have some help. We had Karen Grizz there. Sudsy and Kane took a match here and there. Sudsy came on. Fran was in for a little while, and it's nice when you can change it up like that because John, if you're sitting there watching 7 matches, you don't want to just see me and Fabio. It's boring as hell. It is, and after 7 hours, or 13 hours, what do you get? We don't have a camera on us all the time, so we could be like,
That's
"That
probably a
was
good thing.
shot." No.
That is always a good thing.
Actually, you know what? Actually, I think you should put that camera on you a little more often, just so there is something to say about going to the announcers there and having a quick little close up of the announcers and seeing them at one portion of the day and then seeing them later. It's draining, but it also goes by kind of quick sometimes with great matches because you're so into the matches. But it is tiring to be watching and that into the matches. For that long of a day. So, I understand. Now, when you get to Atlanta, first stop in a while here, due to COVID, you guys get there. How's the club setting up for all the technology that's needed to stream to all of us out here?
Well, we were there in November for a tier 5 that they had with Alex and Daniel, and the Francisco brought me and Pablo out. So when we have a smaller event and we can broadcast it, but Fabio usually doesn't join us. So we were there. We used to have some issues with the Wi-Fi there, and not the Wi-Fi, but their hardline, because we hardline in.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year I actually contacted local Wi-Fi because I was going to bring in our own line separate. And then it turned out I was able to upgrade, help the club upgrade their Wi-Fi, get what we need, and we didn't have any problems. We also changed a few things too this year, and we have to thank Jerry Josie from the LPRT. He helped us. We used a different streaming, a way to stream. So we only send it one place, and they send it to 2 places. So it was smooth, and it made things a lot easier. So, but we put work in prior to, like you said, John, prior to even getting there. We're working.
I know what that's like because our club went through the same thing in a prior IRT commissioned situation where we literally upgraded our Wi-Fi so that we could have the upstream, and you had to have that set, and we didn't realize that at first, and it took a little time to get our management to make the decisions to get what we need, knowing that we're going to broadcast and stream this live from your club and give our club so much promotion with this. So it's really important, and hopefully the clubs are prepared down the line for you. Anything to make it a little bit easier on setup will go a long ways towards your guys' production and being just really ready to have a great weekend. So, you guys are kind of living the dream. Like, you guys have the job I want a little bit, you know what I mean? But I don't really want to leave my family, but I do like calling matches.
Time out. Did you just say you want their job? Really?
I mean, a little bit, not the job of, I kind of want to be like what I heard Favio coming in a little later. Setup's done. Great. I'm
Trust
ready
me,
to just
Dean,
talk.
that Ellie would be great at that.
Well,
just sit him down in front of the mic as the match starts.
Yeah, but it's tough because you're leaving families and all that. And, my dad thinks he's better than me at this stuff. And I'm like, Dad, come on, come on now. But it's a great job that you guys have. You guys get to call racquetball matches for your living. And there's more to it for both of you guys, obviously, is being a part of the ownership of the tour. But Favio, let's start with you. This question for both of you, though, is, how does that feel to be able to know that this is what you're getting to do with the sport that you love so much?
Well, it's amazing because I think this all started back in 2011 when it was my first year of organizing tournaments. I started small at Rosa. I know John, Rosie Torres from Rosarito Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And we started doing tournaments at her facility there. And from then I started doing tournaments in other clubs, and it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that caught the eye of some people, and I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, I think I'm living the racquetball dream, to be honest. Getting to travel with the pro players, calling the matches with Dean. I think it's just great, and I'm very thankful for it because it's an opportunity that happened. I remember that, like Dean said prior, 2018 U.S. Open, I was at the Spanish booth. He was at the, at the U.S. booth. And after that, a couple months later, it was at Canoga Park in January of 2019.
Mhm.
I was with him, and I just went to Los Angeles to watch racquetball as a fan. I wasn't working with the IRT. I wasn't working with anyone. I just told my girlfriend, hey, you know what? Hey, I told her, listen, let's just go watch some pro racquetball because you've never been, and let's just watch some matches, and we'll come back to Tijuana because it's from Tijuana to LA. It's about 2.5 hour drive
Mhm.
shortly, and we just went to watch some matches. And I was there, and Dean was there, and he was in an instant by himself. Said, "Hey, Fabio, can you come and do a couple matches with me? Because I'm by myself." And, yeah, sure, we'll do that. And we just clicked, and I think that's I don't know if that's what that famous U.S. American he says. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. That's what it felt like to me, and it was just great. So I was just happy to do it, and it's all story from there. Yeah, Chicago 2019 was our first. 2020, I'm sorry, was our first event. Dean, our
Yeah.
celebration for our 1 year, and Pablo, I gotta give a shout out to Pablo Faje, great producer. Can't do it without him. So that's how it began, and I'm just happy to be part of the team.
We know all about producers because I got news for you guys. Without Scotty Mac, Ellie and I are like talking on our cell phones and we're FaceTiming and showing the screen to people saying, "Look, we're talking about racquetball." So yeah, Pablo does a tremendous job. But you know, Dean and Fabio, for both of you, you guys, I was just thinking this just right now. There's not, I can't think of Ellie. Can you think of any sport where an announcer or announcers or commentators sit for 10 to 12 hours and commentate?
Not without
Nothing.
researching it, right?
Not
Not
yeah,
sure which
no. I mean,
ones.
UFC, like Rogan will sit there 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe if it gets long, but like nobody does that. Dean, what's the, I know you for so many years and you finally just learned how to say my last name, but that's a joke. That's an inside joke, everybody. How,
I never knew
Dean,
you had a last name.
it's that I did notice you just started calling me Sudsy. You were like, forget Munchik.
Yeah,
So
because forget that.
tell me, like, and I want to hear from you too, Fabio, but Dean, sitting there for 10, 12 hours, like, there's got to be some difficult times. What's the toughest part for you to, to sit through those matches?
You know, I can't say it's a problem. You're tired, and at the end of the day, honestly, I'm tired, but I just want to go and like lay in bed. I don't even want to go to sleep. I just want to like come down because the way I am, Sudsy. I'm pretty high strung, like on a daily, so I don't mind it. And to be honest, I'm sitting there watching racquetball. Like I feel sometimes I really do. I feel like the luckiest guy in the room. I mean, I get to sit in the front row or close to it, and watch some of the best players. What you guys do with the ball is insane. Like I can't even fathom that. And I feel like I'm living a dream. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty damn cool for me as a fan, and because that's really what I am. I'm I'm not a broadcaster. I didn't train for it. I didn't go to school. It wasn't an aspiration. It literally just happened.
So on that topic though, you come from a racquetball family though. Your brother
My
Ricky
my
Baer
brother
played
my brother
racquetball
was
well.
yeah. Yeah, you know him, and
Yep.
it's kind of funny because I told the story a couple times. When I got back into racquetball, I would meet people, and the first thing they would say is, "Hey, are you Richie's brother?" And like I would hate that. Like literally, it would just send me to like yeah. And so then it was like 2 years in, and I started sponsoring the tour. When it was in New York, and I'm at the U.S. Open a few times, and my brother finally came with me. And I was friends with De La Rosa already, and Andre, so he met them, and they were like, "Oh, you're Dean's brother," and I was like, "Yes,"
About time, huh?
That's great.
yeah.
That's great.
So, but my brother is super supportive. My whole family back in the '80s, that's how we started racquetball. My dad worked at the club. Clubs were expensive. Me and my brothers worked at the club. We couldn't afford a membership, so we worked there in the locker room, cleaning the toilets, doing whatever, as the locker room attendant. I know that no one even knows what that is, but yeah. And our dad played, our uncles played, and it was the place. It was the golf course today. It literally was.
When did you first start following professional racquetball? And, who were the guys at that time, or the gals, if you're following the women's tour as well? But, when did you really get into this? And then when did it become something you started thinking to yourself like, wow, I could really be involved in this, whether it's from the management standpoint, ownership standpoint, or actually doing what you're doing now with calling the matches along with all that?
I think it was like 2011. I started sponsoring. The Pro Tour came to New York. Now, if I go back to when I was a kid, Sudsy got really good. And Jason got really good. And I was, like married with a kid, and I'm shopping at Target, and I would look at the racquetball rackets, and I saw Sudsy's face, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, but I started following the Pro Tour because it never came here when I was a kid. So I never saw the pros. It was only ESPN. We watched it. So it was about 2011, and Ben Croft was like number 6, and Jason rolled into town with Russ, and, they had their pizza with them, on Thursday. And I was like, I started talking with Jason, and I was playing in sponsor doubles, and Jason's like, you're going to play with Ben Croft. I think you're going to like him. And he instantly was my favorite player. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
just because he screamed at everybody. And you said it before when you were talking about like holding up and stuff. I don't know. We don't know what that's like here. I can't stand that. Like, I do. You got to swing. And if you hit the guy, well, now that's unavoidable, right, ref? Not maybe, or so. It was like 2011, and then I started kind of traveling. I went to like 1 pro stop, 2 pro stops, and I kind of sponsored De La Rosa and Andre. I'd pay for the hotel. They could stay with me because you know what it's like, Sudsy. They're all, they didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And here I am sitting in the front row again as a fan. And we were literally in Sarasota, Florida. And I was sitting with De La Rosa and John Scott, and people weren't really happy with the tour, just the way it was going. And I remember I said to John, I'm like, well, why can't we just buy it? And so literally like 2 years later, he did. John was buying the tour, and he asked me if I wanted in. And I knew that if I wasn't part of the ownership, I would have no involvement. They're not going to say, hey, let's get Dean over here. So I made the investment, and I liked it. And it was like going to Vegas. Like, that money was in Vegas, not coming back.
All right. So Favio, I got to ask you now. Now I know
Yeah.
your interaction and your involvement is a little bit different. You're more of the commentator and more of the role of communicating. And
Yeah.
we have such a huge Latin influence, such
Yeah.
a huge Spanish speaking viewership. I see that when Conrado from Bolivia or one of our Latin players are on, the viewership just goes through the roof. It's pretty incredible. And you bring that. You're able to communicate in Spanish. Tell me, what's the difference for you when you're doing a match like a Conrado, where the viewership is huge versus a couple of gringos or a couple of Americans, that we are.
Rocky versus
what's
Adam.
yeah, like what's the difference for you there?
Well, to be honest, I feel like I have a certain responsibility for, my Latin American compatriots. I mean, I'm from Mexico. I live in Tijuana, and I feel I have a responsibility to, transmit what they feel, because there's a certain sense of pride, obviously, because as of a few years back, I mean, we've had Alvaro Beltran for obviously a number of years, and but we have more and more players that are just being successful. And we have sponsors that we talked about in Atlanta, that Francisco Fajardo from Zurich Construction, he sponsored the Colombian national team, and we just have outstanding Latin American players. Of course, you mentioned the Bolivians, and it's just different because I feel I have a responsibility to them, and I communicate certain stuff, and I talk to the players. The players are great. They're very thankful that they have an opportunity to travel to the United States and just play and just be a part of the tour. So it is different, and I enjoy it a lot. Obviously, the optics are different, but I thank the RT for bringing me along and just having me communicate that to the players, and they feel comfortable because they feel they can speak certain things. And the interviews sometimes, for example, we have some players that can't speak English, and for example, we had this weekend. I interviewed Javier Estrada after he defeated Alan Natera, and the people watching just the interview itself is just amazing. Like they don't log off when the match is done. They stay to watch and listen to their favorite players in their interviews. So it's just great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's much needed, and thank you for that. The world of racquetball thanks you to be able to communicate that. And Dean, let me ask you, your last event that you commentated, and I know you have a bigger role obviously with the IRT, but that was in October, and we were together in Las Vegas at the outdoor. And Amir Amigo in the chat room asks, it's a great question. For you, what were some of the big differences between commentating indoor events versus that outdoor event in Vegas?
For one, it was hot as hell. No. Well, we were the second court. The IRT was the second court in Vegas, so my responsibilities were kind of loose. It was really good because I've never been to an outdoor event, and obviously up until COVID, I never even played outdoor myself. My brother plays it, and a lot of guys here play it, but I never did. I just like indoor. But as everyone else, I was forced to go outdoor. John, just like you and your camps, you got to take them outdoor, and the kids got to play outdoor. So I found a new kind of love for the game. It was good, interesting. Vegas was different, and it was and I know we had a COVID Vegas, so it was kind of tame. But I'm told it gets kind of hairy, and I mean, the players are really cool. They're really good guys, and they play so hard. But it was very interesting to see the indoor players, the elite indoor players performing elite outdoor, and maybe they're professionals, athletes. I mean, I can't say that some of the other players that played outdoor were not professionals because I don't know them, but I know they don't have as many events for them on the outdoor circuit. So um, the difference for me was light ball, and Pablo had that difference also. He brought different cameras, and again, this is where Pablo comes huge. I mean, he knew we're going to be outside. The cameras we use regular garbage, not garbage, but they're staying home. He brought cameras that were for outdoor, for outside stuff, and he's really good with the lighting and all that jazz. So it was a really cool experience, and I was happy to be there, to be honest.
I mean, for us watching here, it's for me, I start thinking, gosh, this feels like it should be a tier 1 event on the IRT tour, in conjunction with War, USA Racquetball, whatever's going on there. But do you guys feel the same way about that? Both, and for me, the bummer part of it on the professional level on the men's and women's side is that the singles draws aren't really that deep as they could be, but it's fun to watch. Not as fun as doubles, of course, outdoor, but it's interesting. I personally have said I want to see Kane play Rocky at Marina Park in Huntington Beach. I would drive down there if I know that's going to happen, or a good possibility that could happen. That would be really interesting. The most interesting match for me in racquetball right now. But do you feel like outdoor, Vegas specifically, and it's all about money, of course, but does that have a role in a tier 1 future for the IRT? Different surface.
I think it's definitely an event that the IRT wants to be a part of. And I know speaking with the people that run the event there, they're on board too. As far as it being a tier 1 for points, I don't know, to be honest, because
it's a precedent center. If you do, it sets precedent if you could get it to that state, and really the idea and concept of having multiple surfaces, court styles within
like tennis,
professional racquetball, like tennis. That's the easy example. So many different types of courses in golf. It's different to go play in England than it is to play most courses in the United States if you're talking about golf. So it's quite different, and it allows more different types of racquetball athletes to come into play. Someone like you know, Brandon Davis, for example. Baby Davis maybe
He's
has
good.
a little more role in professional racquetball if there's more outdoor events. And that's just a feeling I have, and I'm sure others join me in that feeling. But yeah, you know.
It's a valid point. I mean, when we were broadcasting, that question came up. And at first I looked at Vegas as being a different game. And after seeing it live, they're using a racket, they're using a ball, and they're using a wall. Okay, so it's racquetball.
That's
Let's
right.
call it what it is.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you know, there is no ceiling, there is no wall. I would love to see Kane play Rocky because you know what? In one wall, you think Kane isn't going to drive serve? You think he's going to hit an overhand? No way.
I-
I could imagine him cutting that ball. Forget it. I can't imagine he wouldn't be amazing on outdoor. But to your point, with different surfaces, we kind of already got that. But in tennis, they still have one net and the lines are still the same and they're not in these other things. And I think singles in the 3 wall, we watched it. I watched Paola, you know, the best women's player in the world, struggle to finish the match. Andre, excellent singles player, gets so many balls in the indoor. Outdoor, forget it. There's just way too much room in that 3 wall. And Fabio, you've been to Vegas, not last year, but the year before. I'm not a fan of the singles game there, John. I honestly think that game is made for doubles.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's
think
different.
Go ahead,
It's different,
Fabio.
definitely. Thank you. One of the things that it's just the factor that you deal with intangibles in outdoor and not indoor just changes the game completely because like right now professional sports because of the whole pandemic it's like the NFL, no fans on the stands, or baseball, no fans on the stands. So what happens, it's like you have that factor of the fans, and in outdoor racquetball you have those intangibles. The crowd is on the back, everybody's watching, so it does influence what you do and how you perform. And we saw Kane and Ben got to the final in doubles, which is great. But the outcome, that outcome of finals was somewhat of the US Open, because Ben and Kane versus Alvaro and Daniel has been going on for a while in indoor, and for them to experience that in outdoor was just epic for racquetball fans altogether. So that tells us a lot, and it was an indicator. And I hope that it happens again because it's good for the sport, and it's good all around for racquetball fans, because we missed it, and I'm glad we had the opportunity as an IRT team to broadcast in Vegas. And I hope it happens again. Obviously, want to give a shout out to Mike Coulter from Three Wall Ball, because he's just an excellent guy for holding an event when a lot of people didn't have the courage to do it.
All right, let me. That's a great point. I want to say what's up to Alejandro Barcelo, great dude, outdoor guy.
He's a
Saw him
beast
at
on the court.
Starbucks. Alejandro, you're an animal. I love you, and this actually pertains to what I'm about to say. Seeing Kane and Ben and Alvy and Daniel do so well on the outdoor doesn't surprise me. They're the best players in the world, whether it's indoor or outdoor. And I know there was one specific person from outdoor that kind of took offense to me saying that while I was doing the broadcast. But what he forgot was these guys do this for a living. They do this professionally. Like Alejandro Barcelo, right? I believe is an incredible carpenter. Like that's what he does. That's his profession. Kane's job is to go hit a racquetball. And I'll never forget the morning after Alejandro lost in the semis. He said we were in Starbucks online, and he said to me, I think I said, that's different, right? And his words were, yeah, I've never seen anything like that. And I said, yeah. I said, you're not the only one. So, there's a lot of indoor guys too. But Fabio, I'm going to start with you on this one. And Dean, I want you to answer this because I want to know as a fan. So Fabio, tell me maybe in your history of doing the matches and commentating, what's one that jumps out at you as one of your favorites and why?
Indoor or outdoor?
Indoor. We're talking. This is an indoor show. No, I'm just kidding. We are racquetball. We love indoor and outdoor.
No way.
So,
Wow.
yes, we do.
Listen,
We love it.
indoor, just indoor. What jumps to me is
Just indoor.
doubles. To be honest, it just jumps. And
Does
that,
any
again,
match jump out at you?
I'll mention a couple minutes before that rivalry between Ben and Kane against Alvaro and Daniel have been just epic for racquetball. I think that jumps really out to me in recent years, definitely. But if we go back, obviously I gotta say one match that I can't stop watching every now and then is Menino versus Huzak, that 2006 U.S. Open semifinals.
That was
That was
incredible.
just epic, epic,
Mhm,
unbelievable match.
mhm.
If someone's getting into racquetball just recently, I advise them all the time. You know what? Watch this. Menino versus Huzak.
But what about for you personally as a commentator, one that jumps out
Yeah.
that maybe you got lost and like you forgot you were commentating and you became a fan? Like,
Okay, Alvaro versus Kane at the Sarasota 2019, where Alvaro defeated Kane in a tiebreaker. I just
okay.
jumped out of my seat when that happened because we hadn't seen Kane lose in a while. It's been a while. So I was there as a commentator, but when we entered, Dean and I, when we got into tiebreaker, I was not a commentator anymore. I was a fan, and I saw it happen. And this is a true story. This is I even Alvaro can vouch. I don't know if it's Alvaro's watching at this current moment, but when the match was prior to starting, when like the players were there, they were warming up. I was staying at the same hotel as the players, and Alvaro and I was, hey, are we gonna have dinner after? Sure, whatever. It was a Friday night. It was quarterfinals, and the match between Alvaro and Kane was at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And Alvaro told me, like, he looked at me like he never looked at me before. I was glazing into his eyes per se, and he said, Favio, I'm going to beat Kane tonight. And I looked at him and like, are you serious? And yeah, I have what it takes today to beat him tonight. And I thought he was just kidding. I think he was messing around. And and I made a bet with him if he won. And it happened. And after the match, after he cooled down, he told me, all right, I told you it was going to happen, and it happened. So that's why I said I put emotion into it. And tiebreaker come, I was a fan, and I just jumped out of my seat. It was great.
Dean?
Dean, what about you?
That's so tough. I think, I think as a fan, the U.S. Open doubles finals is always like you sit there and you watch and you like I'm kind of amazed at what happens when it's Ben and Kane versus Daniel and Alvaro. Uh, but not last year, the last U.S. Open game one when Kane versus Conrado, I was more of a fan. I was like, okay, this is what we wanted to see. But as soon as Kane beat him that first game, I'm like, this is over because we've seen it so many times. He gets the lead and then that's it. So as a fan, those are kind of probably the two things that were kind of special, so to speak, because we waited for it. But Kane brings it up all the time. There's always the next guy. Daniel was the next guy. Andre was the next guy. He goes, nobody's the next guy. I like that. It's amazing.
Somebody's the next guy, but
Somebody is, yeah.
that's going to take some time because he's not going anywhere by all perspectives. He's going to be able to play a high level ball for quite a while here still to go. But having said that, he wasn't ready for Atlanta for reasons that he mentioned on the show, and just wasn't ready to perform, to play in Atlanta. And that, two-part question. One, what does that do for you as a tour in terms of dealing with tournament directors? Is there any backlash? Because it was kind of a late decision. Is there any backlash from sponsors, from the host location? And then two, on the other side of that is, there's a lot of excitement when he's not in a draw, because at this point we don't know who's going to win. Alvaro's laid up. De La Rosa's kind of half pickleball pro, half racquetball pro. He's there. He's great all the time, but he's maybe not as ready for racquetball as if he was just focused on it. Landa's a great player, a threat every time. He's got some wins. Rocky's getting a little older, a little more difficult. Ran into his kryptonite in Conrado, who seems to have his number a little bit. So it's a wide open aspect. And so, it's sad for me because I love the greatness of Kane. We all respect it so much, and his game's great and he's fun to watch. But he's, when he's not there, there's some excitement to it that the world of racquetball feels watching and viewing. So, two-part question for you there in terms of dealing with the sponsors in the tournament when Kane decides not to play last minute, and then also, you know, what it's like when he's not there.
Well, from the tour side, well, this one was easy. Donald is one of Kane's friends, so that was handled prior to the announcement.
Okay.
Some tournament directors kind of have a problem with it. Some sponsors do, but it's kind of like any tournament, you know, and an athlete. If there's an injury or there's something going on there, players can't compete. I mean, you know, we can't really force them, especially this year. This year we've had, you know, no tier ones in 10 months. So players aren't obligated to show up. They're just not. And what happens when he doesn't show up? 13 hours of work because those 22-minute games.
He keeps the core time going for sure.
Yeah, if
He
we're
keeps you on
backed up,
time.
you know, he catches that right up. That's a 20. He's a 20-minute match. His round of 16s, or sometimes his quarterfinal match is a 27-minute match, start to finish, with timeouts.
That's if he's tired.
Yeah, that's with 2 timeouts, you know. And if he's playing a Sam Murray where he's got to wipe the floor up, you know, Kane's not diving, he's not wiping the floor. So from a broadcasting standpoint, it does kind of open the field. I think Todd Boss said it, since 2018, Kane missed 8 events and we've had 5 different winners. You know, so the fans, sometimes someone sent me an email and said, well, is it better for the tour if he's not playing? And I'm like, I don't know. The fans, you know, want to see him. Do you think the players, I don't know. I think 48 players that were in Atlanta, I don't know if they were kind of happy he wasn't in the draw. You know, they have a shot, so to speak. I don't think that they're mad he's not playing. But from a fan standpoint, I mean, you just watch what he does with the ball on the court. It's pretty insane.
Yeah,
So
I don't see
so what do you prefer,
any
Dean?
reason to not want him there.
Yeah, I mean, but what does the tour prefer? I mean, you know, I know it's hard to say. Yeah, we would rather not have him be there, but what do you prefer?
I mean, I'm gonna always say I prefer to him on the court until someone knocks him down. You know, I'm a fan, John. When I'm there, I'm a broadcaster. I'm an employee. You know, I'm a owner on the boardroom. But when I'm at an event, I don't make any of the decisions. They're not for me. We have a management team, and last year, I kind of took myself away from that management role. There was too many things to do. So I personally wanted to focus on with Favio and Pablo and get our stuff good. You know, there's people that don't like the actual commentating, and that's fine. It is what it is. It's very hard to do for 13 hours, but I wanted to get make sure that our cameras are there. Our commercials are up to speed. One of the things that was really important to me was player interviews. You know, these players, they need an outlet. They deserve it. You know, and having Favio translate or, you know, actually do the interview in Spanish. One of the things we tried doing was, Favio, if you're going to interview him in Spanish, hey, let the gringos know what they're saying, because the fans want to know also. They want to hear from Alan Natera, you know, or Estrada, stuff like that. So we can only, you know, broadcast the match that's on the court.
Right.
And I think the players feel the same way. You know, is Sam Murray's victory less because Kane didn't play? No, that's not Sam Murray's fault.
Mm-hmm.
He had look at who he went through to get to the top of that mountain. It's a tough crawl.
Yeah, I don't even think that's
so.
I don't
I'd
even
love
think
to see
that's
Kane on the
a
court.
discussion. Yeah, I think Sam was incredible, and
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, he hears every ounce of
but
that.
that was in the chat box. You know, everyone's yapping. You know,
and I know Kane would agree with that too.
Yeah.
You know, Favio, let me ask you. You know, do you pay a lot of attention to the people in the chat room? You know, when you are commentating, and obviously you have to have thick skin and take it with a grain of salt. Like Dean said, some love it, some hate it, you know, but at the end of the day, you guys are doing the best you can for the sport. I don't love your announcing all the time. I don't love my own announcing. Let me be honest. I don't like to hear my own voice. Okay. So I love that you guys are out there all the time and doing what you do. It's not easy. It's not easy to keep up with every ball, every point, but what is it, Fabio, that does drive you? And do you pay attention to the white noise, so to speak, to the noise?
Well, I said it prior. I feel I have a responsibility for even though the Hispanic fans, but it's not just them; it's all the fans all together. I remember a few years back. I don't know if you guys watch the UFC, but one of my favorite all time
Sure,
fighters was because he's not fighting anymore. Wanderlei Silva, and
sure.
I remember that he fought one time, and after he says, "Win or lose, I give it all for my fans, and I fight for my fans and all that." And I feel like we have, as people that are involved in racquetball, we have a responsibility to the people watching. So I watch some of the comments. I don't have that screen in front of me all the time. Dean mostly has that screen in front of him. I'm in another area, but I do try to sneak in and take a peek and respond as much as I can, because a lot of Latin players, or Latin fans actually, they have that tendency to, hey, give a shout out, say hello, hey, hi from whatever part of Latin America, and we try to engage with them because we want them to feel part of, because they are part of the tour. Again, it's they're fans. They make the tour happen. So yeah, I definitely feel that it's something that I like to engage in as much as I can. But if not, I just can't do it. But yeah, I don't. I pay attention to it definitely, because it's a gauge for us to see how we're doing,
Sure.
and also how we should develop, and also how we should respond to their questions.
I think you personally do a great job until I think that you're rooting against me without actually vocally rooting against me, because us players can hear right through those things.
I
Dean, let me talk about this, because I know this was a big topic. This was a big thing, and it's important for the tour. I was in Atlanta. It was spectacular. I'll tell you a true story. I walked into the club on Wednesday. I had my mask on. I had a hat on. It was a little chilly. Jason Chan greeted me at the door at the front desk. And he said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here for the tournament." And he goes, "Sorry, the tournament doesn't start till tomorrow." And I go, "Oh, actually, I'm playing in it, and I still got my mask on." And Jason goes, "Oh, what's your name?" And I go, Munchik, Sudsy." He goes, "Oh," he goes, "I'm sorry," and he didn't know. I want to talk about that. They did a fantastic job. You, the IRT, Jason Chan and his crew, with all these COVID restrictions, no matter how you feel about them, because I may feel the way you feel, you may
Mhm.
feel the way someone else feels, but I think they did a great job. Dean, can you talk about that a little bit, about how well and what you guys, the protocols you tried to follow, and obviously Jason Chan?
Well, one of the things that, it's difficult for us is because we're not in one region. So we have to kind of work with the county and the municipality in which we're having an event. And there's players that are just not comfortable playing, and they voiced it and said, how can you have an event? And we said we have to, like, this, the money's there for the players. If you don't want to go, okay, you can stay home. But what they did, they cleaned the club all the time. They're checking people's
Nonstop.
temperature. I actually looked into having this a rapid COVID test right out front, and but then from a cost standpoint, it wasn't going to work. um we had 100 and something people, but everyone did their part. Sudsy, you saw it. If you're inside,
It
they
was
had their
amazing.
masks
You
on.
got you got
If
everybody was great.
Yeah. And there's rules. If you have a mask, you should distance also. Sometimes you can't. You're eating, you're drinking, it was followed as much as possible. And from the IRT standpoint, it's not our event. And that's what people really don't understand, is we don't have control over the club or the tournament director or the amateur side of the draw. We'll get some players coming up to me with amateur issues, and I'm like, that's like not my lane.
Yeah.
But we're at the mercy, because that's the way the tour is right now, and that may be changing soon. Is are we going to have our own events? We're talking about having our own, just a pro event, but right now this is what we're up against. But Jason, phenomenal job with the club. Francisco cleaned the courts prior to everyone getting there. I did it in November. Every night they were
Yeah,
fogging up.
Yeah, my point was, and Ellie, I'll let you, I know you have questions. My point was, I think that the IRT did a fantastic job. Jason Chan and his crew did a fantastic job. Robert Lyons and Chad Bailey, unbelievable. You guys don't get thanked enough. Thank you for everything you did.
No, that's a
And
thankless job. The tournament director, we've all done it. Favio,
yeah,
I've been a director. You, John, forget it. We know.
yeah, it's tough, but anyway, I know, because there's a lot of chatter, like you said, there's a lot of noise out there about COVID and what are you doing for this and what are you doing for that. Hey, how about just shut up and say thank you that we're having the event, or do something about it, okay? Because I see that and it's old, it's tiring enough. So Ellie, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a bunch of questions here. I'm going to fire some out here. We've been going for a while now, so if we have quicker answers, fine. If not, we can go for a while. Where you guys are used to being in front of the camera here for 13 hours, like you're talking about. But doubles. Both of you guys are talking about the rivalry between those two teams. I have a feeling we might see a Monchik Landa in that mix come U.S. Open time in October. Hopefully, it happens, right? But your guys' feelings about doubles, even if it means not having as much singles at stops in the future, because it sure is fun to watch the best players in the world play doubles. Rallies last a little longer. There's so much movement around the court. It's exciting to watch both regular doubles and the idea of more collaboration with the LPRT for mixed doubles, because I certainly want to see the best females in the world, mix it up with the guys and have it just get a little feistier out there in a good way.
John, I had a tournament in New York in Syosset, May of 2019, and it was an LPRT Tier 1, IRT Tier 1 with mixed pro doubles, and it was great. The fans loved it. I had, as one of the owners of the IRT, I brought the LPRT into my event because it was good for my event. It was good for racquetball, and I don't think that gym has been hopping since, I don't know, the 90s, Sudsy, and you both played there, and now it's closed, so it's sad. I have no problem with that. From a double standpoint, it's great. The fans love it. One of the things, though, that we've been tracking is the people watching doubles. Believe it or not, we still get more people watching singles, if you can imagine, and that's live and post. Doug Ganem at the U.S. Open. Yeah, you guys talked about it before. He shifted a lot of money into doubles. He was expecting more teams to play. That didn't happen. The same people played, except one more team, the Cliff Rocky team. That was the only one added. So they took a lot of money away from some of the pros that play all the time, and it didn't get shared the way I guess he wanted it. But from a U.S. Open fan perspective, Saturday Night rocks, Sudsy. Yep. I think we've all can agree.
From a Tier 1 before, Super Saturday.
Yeah, from a Tier 1 perspective, it's great for the fans, but we don't get the viewers, John, and I don't know why. I don't know why more people don't tune into that. I don't know that answer.
Well, per capita, you're getting a little bit more excitement from the results of watching the doubles match for sure. Even if you're not getting more viewership on the doubles, I think the story after the doubles seems to be a little more exciting to, have longevity going forward. But, we'll see where that goes. It's same topic really, and after I'm going to ask you about your upcoming schedule and what you can talk about it. But before that, with Mexico, several other Central and South American countries playing such great racquetball and sending professionals to the events, that when they're there and going forward, that'll be the case. Favio, can we expect to see more Mexican IRT Tier 1 events in the future? Now, I know there's been other tier level events and everything like that, but Tier 1 is really what gets the diehard and the racquetball fans excited for a full weekend of racquetball at the highest level, from round of 32s or even then some on to the finals with all these great matchups. But, what's it going to take to get more stops in Mexico, Favio?
Well, as it comes to fact for a Tier 1, I honestly say that I've been working for about almost a year now to get one in Tijuana. We had Mexican Nationals in February of last year. It's almost a year. and Dean was there. He actually we did a couple matches together on the booth, and it's the most likely scenario. We have also Monterrey and Chihuahua, which are just hotbeds for racquetball. It's going to take a little bit of effort, but the fact that players like Natera, Estrada, Ochoa, and players like Moscoso, Carrasco, and other coming, it makes it just more plausible, to be honest. Even this past weekend when Murray won, I've been asking the question, when is the tier one going to go to Canada?
Right.
Maybe it's a tipping point for Racquetball Canada to do a tier one event, because imagine having one in Montreal where he's from, or Calgary. It takes effort, obviously. The economics are different in our country, definitely in Mexico, but we had a grand slam in Bolivia, the American Iris, which is one of I was there with Dean. I wasn't in the RT booth. I was doing the tournament desk.
He
But we
ran
had
that
one in
whole
Bolivia.
tournament dress, John.
Yeah.
400 players.
Oh yeah, I know the spot too.
Yeah, exactly. So that happened, and it takes of effort. I'm trying to do what is necessary to get one in Tijuana, and that will be cool because it's just a 15-minute drive south of San Diego. And if we have one in Tijuana, everybody can just fly to San Diego, and we'll just have them taken care of. We had an LPRT one 3 years back, and it was just successful.
Well, I certainly, I think I speak for a lot of people when they say, we hope that it's not just Tijuana, but other big racquetball playing cities with phenomenal clubs. I mean, San Luis Potosi, the clubs there, the clubs in Chihuahua, Monterrey, I've never been, but there's so many locations now in Mexico and other countries that, can really with court numbers, host a big pro stop along with the amateur event, which obviously can make the facility and the tournament directors and other people involved some income off of the events. And that's what you want to encourage so that they're motivated to do so. And so we look forward to that, Favio. Hopefully you're able to spearhead with a lot of other people involved. And hopefully the players out there that might be watching this, that are coming from Mexico, that are coming from Bolivia and other countries, get involved with you guys as the tour. And how is that going? I mean, do you have player involvement to try to secure some sponsor dollars in these other countries outside of the US to make this a reality, or are they just players right now?
Well, Alex Landa has a pretty big tournament in Juarez, and this year, prior to COVID, it was supposed to be a tier one because it's usually a tier two. So we were working on making that a tier one. And in Monterrey, was supposed to be a tier one. It will be a tier two this summer also, but in the future, they want to go tier two, tier one, Grand Slam. So they have a plan, and there's a team that is getting the sponsor dollars. And we both know Francisco. He is adamant about running a lower level IRT event in Colombia shortly. In other words, this year. Will it be a tier one? I don't know. Economics is what comes into play. Sudsy's been promising us in Ecuador. No, it's hard, but there's clubs popping up in Guatemala, in where else? We'll be in Chile, I'm sure. Pablo's from there, and they're building a facility there, and he has the talk already about that will happen when their facility's finished. And Pablo also has the connection in Calgary, so that was also supposed to turn into a tier one, and it just didn't make its way yet. But
guys, talk about the impact of one Walter Klugowitz, aka Sudsy Monchik, playing the pro stop and winning. What a story that is for him to get another pro stop victory. And doubles matters because I hear from some of the Stockton guys, especially the Rojas brothers, and they count their doubles win as a pro stop win. And I don't blame them. It's it's a great win. It's
a win.
Tier one doubles. Hey, wasn't around for us very much, but it's here, and hopefully it keeps on going and gets my buddy Sudsy to more events and competing with the great partner in number 2, Alex Landa. But how does Sudsy affect the event from a viewership, just being there in person?
Favio,
Either one of you?
go?
Well, it affects a lot because the fact that we had Sudsy and Kane at the same time just had a ton of viewers. It was refreshing. I'm sure you guys are fed up with hearing us for 8 hours straight. Having those two guys with so much racquetball knowledge, and that just gives a refreshing point of view. But it's great because having, imagine going to another event and just having one of the top players, not just currently, but ever, just broadcasting and commentating. It's just fantastic. So it's great for the tour. I am actually hopeful that at every tier 1 event we'll have a doubles, because it usually gives that pop that it needs and it has. So I mean, you saw this past weekend in Atlanta, the 2 semifinals that we had for doubles were just insane, right? They were just crazy on Friday night. Sudsy and Landa just pulled one out of the. They didn't pull a rabbit out of the hat. They pulled an elephant out of their hat. Okay, it was just fantastic. They would look like magicians, and we saw some great outcomes. So, having said that, I personally wish that doubles pros are always in the draw. To be honest, even though that Dean and I have to be on the booth 13 hours a day, uh, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
It's worth it.
It's totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Guys, give us a little update on your schedule. I know it's hard and everything's circumstantial with COVID, but what can you tell us, and what are you working on that you can talk about so that we can get excited about professional racquetball, even if it doesn't end up happening, but is really trying to happen?
Well, let me just go back really quick, because Favio answered that question about having Sudsy there from a broadcaster standpoint. Having him on the court was just huge. I mean, there's people that never got to see him play live. And to be honest, I was one of them until he played at the US Open that one year. So I've never seen him play professionally live. So our generation, meaning our age, your age, John Ellis, same thing. There's people, the kids and the younger players today, they've never seen John Ellis on the court. They've never seen Sudsy on the court. So from that perspective, I think it shows the youth of racquetball that there's longevity here if you do the right things. So I think from a standpoint of having Sudsy on the court is good for everyone. It really was. So, and it was a treat to see him win. So even though I didn't pick him to win.
Absolutely, it was a treat. I mean, I told him earlier, I turned off their quarterfinal match in game 2 because I thought it was over and they were going to go down, and surprise, the next day, or the semifinal match, whatever it was.
You will see.
Listen, to my credit, Dean, I picked them to win. I'm on record with Todd Boss. That show we did the prior Monday. Sudsy, if you watch it, I picked you and Landa to win.
Did Todd pick us to win also?
He did. I think he did. Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't. Sorry, Sudsy.
What would you pick to win?
I thought it was time for Andre and Eduardo I thought Eduardo's game really was going to catapult him in and be more of the leader that I think he needs to be. And again, not seeing any of these players for 10 months, you kind of have to guess. But we did say the people that are going to win are going to be the smartest people and the people who can train and practice and can kind of hone their craft quickly. And it showed. Sam Murray, phenomenal. Those guys, Landa and Sudsy, they played great. I didn't see Portillo take that next step yet. And I think I'm hoping for it, because you want to see the young kids get better. And they have in the past. And obviously, if you're doing something where you got to pick, we all can't pick the same one. It would have been boring.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But coming down the pike, I mean, the hugest chatter, and Sudsy knows it too, is Tennessee is hot to bring pro racquetball. Rick and Rick, I mean, it is happening. The date, when, I don't know, because they want COVID to be in the rearview mirror. But that is happening, John.
Where in Tennessee?
It is going to be a men's only. Knoxville. We're going to bring. There was talk about the U.S. Open port. It's not going to be that court. We have someone that's building their own portable court that we will have full use of, and it won't be $50,000 to use. And honestly, that's that's terrible. I mean, you got this beautiful asset and it's $50,000 to use. I mean, it's not getting before you know it, it's going to be obsolete. So, USA Racquetball really needs to find a way to utilize that court more.
You know, there's a lot of topics on that idea of modernizing racquetball courts, not only technology but obviously material to make it so that it doesn't cost so much to erect and bring down. But a topic for another show, most likely.
Absolutely.
But what other cities locations are really trying to get on the schedule?
Chicago is next up. We're trying to get confirmation whether or not they're allowed to have an event there. There's some issues going on with the municipalities, about wearing masks and being able to play. So that's an issue that's being worked on. We should have with the US Open, we should have about 8 or 9 events, tier 1s this year. And I think if that happens, it'll be a home run. LA is going to happen. It's a matter of when. It's not a matter of, obviously that was scheduled for February. That's off. You guys are kind of in lockdown too. So we'll have LA, we're going to have Tennessee. They're ready to go.
Denver.
We will have a Florida event at some point. We will have,
we have Denver. We got
Denver Jim
in May.
Heiser's event. That's dated already. Favio, the dates. It's like the 20 something.
It's May 20th through the 23rd. That's in Denver, Colorado. We actually broadcasted it during the finals. We put the promotional poster on, and it's a great event because it's combined. It's a World Doubles Open, and it's combined with IRT and LPRT. So you guys, you were talking about this a little bit earlier. It's we're going to have a mixed pros. So that's going to be really cool. So look
that's
forward to
doubles
that.
only, right? Isn't that doubles only?
There's not going to be
doubles.
pro. I don't even think pro doubles is on the schedule there. It's singles and mixed doubles.
An interesting combination right there. And one I've thought about here in Stockton in the past, not being sure if I could draw the women. Is there a women's pro stop as well happening for singles there at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Jim
So,
Heiser's doing
so
like
now we're talking a significant, price tag on that, probably in the $30,000 to $50,000 range in terms of prize money needed for the player. So there's challenges that Jim will have in front of him to make that happen. But it's certainly an interesting concept to leave out the regular gendered doubles and have mixed doubles as the feature doubles event. And I'm all for seeing something like that go down to see if it's really attainable more often. I certainly would hope so, man. That's exciting if it performs well.
So Sudsy, you have to get Veronica. So
gosh, don't we all want to see that, huh?
That's something I'm looking forward to, seeing Sudsy play with Veronica Sotomayor, because I remember Veronica, a few years back, she was actually one of my favorite players because she used to give a ton of trouble to Paolo Longoria. Like I would see them on the court and they would play, at the US Open or wherever, and she would give her trouble. She would, Paolo was always number one already. But, every time Veronica stepped in the court, Paola's her poker face completely changed. So, Sudsy, is that ever going to happen to us? Are you going to give that to the fans? Have you talked to Veronica?
You know what else, too? It'll be fun to watch him play the forehand side, too. Good. Play the forehand side. Sudsy.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. And I'll tell you this, that if we can make it happen with a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old, or at the time,
not happening.
Mateo will be 1 and Jules will be 3, and Heiser texts me pretty much every day. And Heis, I know you're probably watching. Yeah, we'll make that happen. But if not, I got a good right side player that asks me often to play mixed doubles.
There you go.
I bet you do. Probably from Guatemala, if I'm guessing, but maybe
no
I'm
spoilers,
wrong.
dude. Ellie,
she's from Mexico.
Ellie.
Oh,
she's from
interesting.
Mexico.
Yeah, we'll find out
She's
hopefully in the future. Guys, I've got one more question, then I'll be done and let Sudsy wrap it. But I'm close with the RYDF group here. They're my personal friends. I'm involved. I was on the board meeting today for 2 hours, listening to all the talk about what they are passionate about, which is, helping youthful racquetball players develop their games and get to the stops, to get to the stops. What, just from somebody besides them talking about it, for you guys, what has a foundation like that done to help get younger players going to these stops at an earlier stage in their career?
Well,
It's
John, did
done a
you
lot.
see the deal that RYDF put in place with the IRT? We broadcasted the round of 64 matches.
Mm-hmm.
So it's RYDF players and putting them on the show court, interviewing them, giving them, the limelight. And that's honestly what the RYDF mission is. They help them on and off the court. And so that was phenomenal. I have to thank RYDF. They allowed that to happen. But because of them, yeah, these players get rooms, and it's phenomenal. I love it.
Well, thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
for responding to that.
Hey, Dean, Favio, I just want to say really thank you so much. We've kept you long enough, I think longer than what we told you. And I know you guys can go 12 or 13 hours, but really we appreciate it. Ellie and I, our objective here at Beyond the Court and with Scotty Mack is to just promote racquetball. We don't see anyone or anything as competition. You guys, whether you have Outside the Rally or you have the IRT Tour, the LPRT or USA Racquetball, our objective is, and we came together to just promote the crap out of racquetball, make sure we can do everything and anything, and you guys continue to do that. Keep commentating. You're welcome back here on our show anytime. Our show is a racquetball show. It's for everyone, and we just hope if there's ever anything we can do for you guys on the tour to make it better, whether it's at actual events, whether it's specific events, something we can do on our show, we'll be more than happy to help you. So Favio and Dean, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it, and keep going, keep at it.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks, Sudsy and John. What I can honestly say is that I thank you for having us on your show, and not only that, but also what John can do is host a tier 1 event at the In Shape Sports Club in Stockton. That's what John can do specifically. And you, Sudsy, you can have us in Ecuador anytime.
That's talking to my sponsors and all my people out here that are watching the show. Undoubtedly, you guys heard it right here. The tour wants to come back to Stockton to the 209, which means
I want it to the 209 too.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. We all do.
I haven't
we
been
love
there
seeing
since that
racquetball.
junior nationals, so I
Right,
want to go back.
We all love it. Hopefully our courts open up here in 2021 and we can get to working towards something like that. But I'll need my sponsors' monies out there to make that happen. And they're going to do that. They're going to step up at some point here. And when we get back to normal life and California gets a little bit clearer of everything going on, we'll work towards that goal. And it'll be exciting to see the young players from everywhere, all over the world, coming to play here and compete in the 209.
Before Scotty Mack kicks you guys out, because he's definitely going to get you guys out of here, I'll say this for the record. The minute that I or Veronica say we're going to have a tier 1 event in Ecuador, damn straight we're going to have a tier 1. We have not said that yet. But if we do say that, we will have one. So Dean, good night. Favio, good night. Scotty Mack, do your thing. Ellie, we're going to stick here for another couple minutes. You guys
Thanks,
have a great
guys.
night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Fabio.
Ellie, so there you have it. We had a nice little show. We had Alex Landa. We had Dean and Favio. What's your take? Where are we at? Where are we at in 2021? And what are we looking at? I spoke to one of the Ricks, the Knoxville event, the tier 1 event is going to happen. He has the money. It's a little bit open. It's July, August, September, October, literally. He didn't know, what date they're kind of paying attention, but he guaranteed me that's going to happen. Where are we at right now, Ellie?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. We're thankful to have had a women's pro stop and now a men's pro stop to talk about, to watch champions be crowned, to get these people on the court and pursuing their passion and career dreams of playing professional racquetball, to get younger players out to these events to experience professional racquetball during this time where we've been down for 11 months. So, it's a good question though. There's probably not a lot of junior racquetball development going on or new adult player development going on with the courts as closed as they are, but everyone's got to kind of burn that fire within them to prepare for the opening, because when that happens, those clubs that are open for racquetball and will open up, you have to be ready for that moment to execute and get involved. And, for us here in Stockton, it's about junior racquetball and developing pros for the future. And for other areas, it might be slightly different, but hopefully the junior emphasis is there so that we create new racquetball players from a young age that want to live a lifelong journey of being racquetball players, to go with whatever else they do. But, that's what's on our mind out here. That's what's on my mind. But it sure is fun to have some entertainment. I think back to Freddie's conversation that we had, restrung. And, I'd like to see more kind of one-on-one matchups, 2-on-2 doubles. I'd like to see some fresh video with better cameras, players taking it upon themselves to get some equipment that makes it better, where you're setting up the camera, where you can really kind of really bring the show to these people in the interim while we're down with COVID. And certainly myself doing some part as more of an instructor and organizer of players and young players, but some of the current pros out there really just being a little more proactive than they are to keep entertaining us with high level racquetball, and maybe taking it upon themselves in between. But it's a lot to ask, and we'll just keep having fun shows here and doing the best we can to provide some racquetball entertainment and information. I'm looking forward to different types of shows. We talked about it last week with, who do we want to have on? I mean, anybody, a lot of people lately is like, where's Jack Cusack? Get him on the show with Christy. Yeah, sure. That one would be a really interesting show for sure. Jack's a great player, was a great player, and stopped a little too early for a lot of people, for me personally, yourself, the Jerry Price, Scott Oliver show, just because hilarious. We want to have a laugh.
That's a comedy hour.
That's a comedy hour. Everyone out there will love it. It'll be so much fun to listen to these two guys.
And get incredible racquetball knowledge too.
Absolutely. I mean, those are the two guys that I patterned my racquetball game after, with my dad's permission, from a young man, just, a young boy, because they were great. And they were so awesome here in Northern California, along with other players. You have guys like that in New York that were your example. So, Ruben Gonzalez, what's he up to these days? He's a legend in racquetball, our guy, we both love him. And of course, we'll have Jason on every other show, basically. He'll come in here and be hilarious.
I'm shocked he didn't text me and say, how come you didn't send me the link?
Yeah, I'm surprised too, but he'll be back next week or the week after. So there's a lot to do here for us. And Suds, you're taking on a lot of challenges by just where you live here in Cuenca, Ecuador, and, traveling around and being involved with racquetball and performing and playing. I mean, you won a doubles pro stop. And that's just the first of, I think, several to potentially quite a few more. The U.S. Open in October has to be on your mind from the doubles perspective, to go out there and really get that title. And let me say one more thing I'm talking a lot right now, but let me say one more thing about your game. At the age you're at and the abilities you still have, you looked very calm out there on the court compared to when you're younger. Now, you were calm as well when you're younger, but you can kind of see, your fire, the fire was there. Your skin would turn a little red. Like, blood's pumping here. I'm trying to do my best to stay calm. You take these huge deep breaths to remind yourself to stay calm, but that seems to come more natural for you now. So, maybe you want to comment on that, because that really stood out to me as well. And you played great. So it's just a great moment for yourself.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I'm cherishing all these wins, all these matches, because the truth is, and you and I talk offline, the truth is, I just don't know. I just don't know what the plan is for the next one. I don't have a contract like I used to have contracts with companies. I have people and supporters and great people behind me that want to see me out there and want me to go play and want me to compete. And I just don't know. I live down in Ecuador right now. Veronica and I will pay a lot of attention to the elections that are here in the next few weeks, and we might have a decision to make. There's a chance we move back to the States here, not in the near future. And that will change. But as far as on court, it's funny. I was talking to our cousins tonight. Yeah, Ellie, I'm just super calm. I just feel an overwhelming sense of confidence and belief that, my knowledge, my experience, because I failed in those moments, and I know a lot of those guys or younger guys haven't. I feel like that's exactly where I want to be. And to Alex's point, he makes me better. I hope I make him better. But I think we're really a good team, because I'm really wired a lot the way he is. I'm super aggressive, as you know, and I want to attack. And I think that when I look at him, I'm almost looking in the mirror sometimes and keeping that balance of, okay, let's control this moment. Let's stay in the now, and let's do what we do and do what we do best. And but it's almost weird, because it's funny you say that, because we haven't spoken about this. Anybody that's still watching and listening, I'm almost calm to a point where I'm most comfortable when the tighter the situation is, Ellie, everything just seems to slow down for me and everything gets more clear.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, buddy. And one more thing, they had a nice camera angle on the ceiling ball coming back to your backhand, so that players, people watching, can really see your preparation of racket, your grip. It's changing people's like mechanics by watching. They can get instruction from people on hand. They can see themselves on video, but when they watch someone like you with your backhand, and your and I's backhand mechanics were very similar. We had a lot of similarities in terms. Your timing and power of it was just the highest level that's ever been, and they get a chance to see that. For example, Annie Roberts is living here in Stockton. She's the 18 and under national champion, I believe. Top female here in the United States on her junior level, and she's been thinking about her backhand, her grip, and her mechanics, and seeing you, and then having someone like me to talk to about it at the club on the court. It's like a nice little 1-2 combo that you don't even realize is happening, but you're doing a lot, and I'm able to then reference your preparation, your backhand. I noticed that you're never gripping tight. It's up and ready early. The grip where it's supposed to be to flatten out a ball at any height, and staying down and willing to get balls near the ground, near the second bounce, to then hit that rollout down the line, or hit that splat rollout, or a cross court bomb. So it's really good that, for us, that we have U.S. junior player that's taking advantage of that and working towards little changes like that. And I'm sure that's out there for not only juniors, but adults to see firsthand. And that's great. So you're doing some stuff mechanically for players that they've been waiting to see.
Well, thanks, Ellie. I appreciate that. We're going to close it out, and like I said, every match, and I hope anybody watching, every match I was on that court, I really, really hope, and I'm driven by that, it's myself and 3 other players, including my partner, Alex. I hope that they're taking something out of it, something that I'm showing them or doing, whether they like it, dislike it, want to mimic it, want to try to copy it. I hope that I'm helping make them better, because I really don't care about the titles and the medals and the accolades. I don't. It's not about that. If I can help Annie Roberts, down here in South America, and she's in the 209 up in Northern Cal, that's what I want to do. That's the reason I do it. Those are the reasons why I'm sitting here. I dragged one of my best friends in sport ever, to be part of Beyond the Court, and Scotty Mack, of course. I'm driven by you. I'm inspired and motivated by you. So all the messages I get and the emails and all that stuff, I appreciate it. I'll keep going as long as I can. And, with that, we're going to close out episode 26 here of Beyond the Court, but we will be back next Sunday as usual. We don't know at this moment who our guest is.
No clue.
We do not know. I have a good idea, because I think Ellie and I need to get back to the
Oh yeah,
individual
we
that we
do.
were.
Yeah, we do.
We have an idea,
Yeah.
and I'll contact them, and hopefully he or she will agree, and we will make it happen. So next Sunday night, don't forget, it's the new time. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and we'll be back with episode 27, Ellie. Episode 27 of Beyond the Court. So for myself, John Ellis, Ellie Style, and Scotty Mack behind the scenes, thank you so much. We'll see you next Sunday night. Have a great week.